Hi guys, Romaine here from Access Gourmet. Guys, we are excited for this pairing. We are going to be pairing today our Orange Duck, Braised Duck with our Naughty Neighbour Pale Ale from Nickelbrook Brewery. Our Nickelbrook Brewery Pale Ale is going to have a nice blend of a little touch of citrus as well. That's going to complement the orange in our duck, as well as a little bit of a bitter that's going to offset that natural gamey sweetness from the duck that we're going to be using today. Okay? So whenever we're putting together a braised duck, I always want to tell my clients and my guests, the duck requires a good long cooking because you want to be able to braise that flavor. You want to be able to get that natural reduction. You really want to be able to have that duck to be as soft and moist as you possibly can. So a couple of things that I want to kind of give you guys as a pointer or a note for you guys to be able to pick up on those nuances and also be able to complete this in home as well. So we're going to start with our duck leg. And as you guys can see, we've already done what's called a Frenching technique to our duck leg. So we've simply removed the added meat on the leg itself in order for a little presentation element. You don't have to necessarily do this at home. It's a nice touch just to be able to show that you are the head chef in your home. Make sure everybody knows that you are the top dog at home. So little quick technique. We'll have a video set up to kind of showcase how to be able to do that technique as well. Okay? So here we have a 5-spice blend. It's going to contain a little bit of Cajun, a touch of 5-spice, some cumin, a little bit of sage, some chili powder, and a variety of other spices as well. We're going to be highlighting those spices on the video, so please take note of those as well, and the recipe for you guys to be able to pick up on. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little touch of canola oil. We're going to add that, apply that to our duck. And for the seasoning blend, you can control the element of how much you want to add. There's no salt added to this seasoning blend to allow for just flavor ingratiation, not necessarily a high salt content or sodium content. So we're gonna add a little touch, half, and we're just gonna season that guy up, get that nice and coated. At the same time, we can get our pan ready to go here. Add a little touch of that spice blend on the back. Now, when we talk about a braise is a unique cooking technique because what it is essentially, we call it a combination cooking technique because you're essentially gonna cook dry to begin with. So you're gonna get a little oil in your pan, and what you're gonna do is on that skin side, you're gonna get a nice little crisp on that skin side. You're then gonna remove the duck from your pot, and then we're going to hit it with our mirepoix. Now, we're gonna go through our mirepoix and why they're important for each of them and when you're going to add them to your dish. As well as the actual beer itself, because that's going to be a part of our flavor profile. So we're going to go ahead here and get a little oil into our pan as it is smoking. For your duck, don't be afraid to marinate this overnight, guys. So if Father's Day is coming up on Sunday, you can get this duck in the marinade Friday, Saturday, and really be able to finish that off whenever you're looking to do so. And if you're just doing this on a weekend or you're looking to be able to put this on the grill, again, as I said, you can do this a couple days prior and then have that duck ready to go. Okay? We're gonna get our duck in there. What we're looking for is a nice golden brown sear on that skin side. So you don't need a lot. All you're looking for is a nice little crust so that when you braise that duck off, it's still gonna have a contrast of flavor and consistency as well. Because of the seasoning that you've added to this, please be careful. You don't want it to burn. All you're looking to do is to get that nice char on it. The fragrance will really hit as you get that good color that you are looking for. So you only need to have this in there for probably 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how high you're cooking your heat. If you're at medium, anywhere from 4 to 5 minutes. If you're on high, 2 to 3. Again, you just want to make sure that you're not burning anything in there. Those spices will become bitter if you leave them in too long or you allow them to burn at all. Okay? So we've gotten a nice color on our duck on both sides. We're just gonna rest our duck on the side here. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove any excess oil that you may have in your pan. and we're gonna begin with our mirepoix. Now our mirepoix is gonna consist of 1 whole onion and a medium carrot that we've diced up. We wanna dice them up to the unique, uniform size as well. Again, they're gonna cook at the same time, and they're also going to be uniform and consistent to the eye. So we're gonna start with our onions. Get a little carrots in there. We also have some fresh thyme that we're gonna toss in there as well. And we have our oranges, of course, that's going to be a part of our mirepoix. Now, what you're looking for from this juncture point is fragrance. So you should be able to smell the onions, you should be able to smell the carrots, you should get a little smell of that oranges as well, because that's going to tell you that your product is almost at that juncture point that you're looking for, okay? The goal is to not get too much color on your mirepoix. All you're doing is trying to lightly get those fragrance out. So now I can get my onions, I can smell my onions, I can smell my carrots. I am now going to add a cup of diced tomatoes. Now, you can choose to add fresh tomatoes, by all means. Grape tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. In our case, we're gonna use some canned diced tomatoes. Has a little bit of liquid there. The skin has been removed, so it's gonna give us a lot more acidic nature and a little bit liquid as well. So we're gonna go ahead and add that in. Now, because if our tomatoes are canned, they've already gone through a slight cooking process, so we don't have to worry about cooking them down too much. The goal is just to be able to ingratiate them with our mirepoix. Now comes the good stuff. Naughty Neighbor. Some of us have had some Naughty Neighbors, but in this case, we're just sticking to our Nickel Brook Pale Ale, and then we can go from, so we can go ahead and add that full cup of that Naughty Neighbor to our braising liquid. We are also going to add half a cube of what's called a chicken bouillon. You can find this in stores in dried versions or liquid versions, depending on what you're looking for. They do contain a high amount of salt, so I do recommend you be very cautious about which one you are using and also the amount that you are looking to use. So we've gone ahead and just tossed that guy in. We want that to reduce down with the flavor profiles. As I've added that Pale Ale Naughty Neighbor from Nickel Brook, there's a fragrance of citrus. There's a nice little, you get that hoppy nature from what we're looking for. So all that fragrance is gonna come out. It's really meshing nicely with that tomatoes and the orange that we have here. So all that's going to essentially reduce and braise down to a really nice sauce and flavor profile as well. Okay. So once your marinade begins to, your braising liquid begins to boil, I'm gonna be good to be able to get my duck back in there. Now, salt and pepper is something that you're going to want to add on the back end. You don't necessarily need it to be able to be on the front end. As I said, always when I'm talking to guests, students, whatever it is, you can season the flavor. In this case, all we need to do is worry about when that duck comes out of the oven, then we can look to add our salt and pepper in there as well, okay? So our mixer is starting to boil. Our duck can go back in here now. We're gonna submerge that duck. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna look to be able to top that up with another cup of water. We're gonna put this in the oven at 325 for anywhere from around hour to hour and 30 minutes. And a good telltale sign to know if this is done, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a fork, and you're not gonna stab the duck, you're just gonna put lightly submerge the fork into the duck and twist slightly. If the fork twists without resistance, the duck is gonna be perfect. You want it to be able to be as soft and moist as possible. If you feel a little bit of resistance, if the duck is still a little bit tough, leave it in there for another 15 minutes and come back again and check on it to make sure it's complete, okay? So we're just gonna top that up with a cup of water, right in the oven, 325, hour and 30 minutes, check back on in on, and then we should be good to go. So our ducks come out of the oven, probably just over an hour and a half here. We can tell the level of doneness. Again, instead of using a fork, I'm just gonna use my tongs, but I can tell by the softness of the duck that it's ready to go. We have some pappardelle pasta cooked off here. We're just gonna toss it in with our braising liquid. That sauce is really nice and rich, so it's gonna give us a nice flavor profile. We've decided to actually also pair our duck today with with some roasted bok choy. That's gonna also give us a little green with our dish as well. So, and Dad's going to absolutely love you for this dish. It's a nice, again, simple recipe. Can be done, pop in the oven, low and slow, leave the guy for a couple hours, and then finished off nicely to present as well.